2022. It's been quite a year, hasn't it? Here at Perfect Circuit, we inquired with some of our friends, what is the best gear of this year, of last year, that they like to use? So let's go ahead and take a look.
Hello world, my name is Ihor and my favorite piece of gear in 2022 is, well, pretty much all that, but what really stands out for me is the combination of these three modules. The O-Series from Molten Modular, which is a wavetable synthesizer, the Ghost from Endorphins and Ihor, which is a multi-effects sound processing unit, and it's quite a crazy one, and the Maestro from Acid Rain Technology, which is basically the maestro of modulation. And now let me finish this patch and also show you how it works real quick. So we have this wavetable going, and the Ghost is kind of bypassed right now. So we can navigate through the wavetable or change the wavetables and stuff like that, but I would like to make it rhythmically. So I'm gonna patch output 1 from Lapses, which is basically replicating all the outputs from the Maestro into the wave X and introduce a little bit here. So it plays some kind of like rhythmic gates. Then output 2, which is generating random values every fourth note, I'm gonna patch into the wave Y, which is gonna change our wavetable every time. Then output 3 is going into the timbre amount. There is a long LFO going. And then output 4 is going into the timbre mode. Again, at random, it's gonna change the mode of the timbre, which is significantly going to affect how the timbre amount is influencing the sound, right? So we got this kind of rhythmic thing going, right? Now I can introduce a little bit of compression on the Ghost, a bit of distortion, or maybe not a bit, but a lot. Then with a filter on the input, I can roll off some low end so that it doesn't clash with our sub here on the Syntact. And then we can add reverb, which is gonna make our sound wide and spread into the stereo field, and also stereo delay. And we get this kind of thing going. Here on the Steppy I have two triggers over here, which are triggering the envelope on the Ghost for our sidechain or ducking effect. So I can introduce the amount. And now with drums. And with sub. Can add some resonance on the filter. Nice. Thanks Perfect Circuit for having me. Until the next time, have fun.
Hey everyone, my name's Emily Hopkins. I'm a professional harpist and synth enthusiast, and my favorite piece of gear that I picked up in 2022 is the Moog Sound Studio 1 bundle. So this comes with the DFAM and the Mother 32. It also comes with a mixer. It comes with a whole bunch of things to get you started and to, kind of make the transition into the world of modular synth a little easier to wrap your head around. I also got a bunch of really cool stackable rainbow spaghetti. I'm super new to the semi-modular synth world, and the really cool thing about the Sound Studio bundle is that it comes with this little exploration patch book to help get you started, allowing you to dive right in to building patches, using your rainbow spaghetti over here to make connections. I've really been enjoying playing the harp alongside it, and today I'm going to run my harp through the Red Panda tensor and the Red Panda context.
here we are at the end of 2022 and my friends at Perfect Circuit asked me to put together a little run through of my favourite bits of kit. And I did try and limit myself to 2 bits of kit, but they came out as really expensive. So the first one that I brought up is the Oberheim OBX8. It's great, sequential, took the leap and built this. If you've ever lusted after a vintage Oberheim and you couldn't really afford one, I know this isn't cheap, but they're so much more expensive and they probably come with a ton of issues. So we've got a new one, it's here, brilliant for sequential to have brought this into existence. It feels like we've got a new bit of synth history in 2022. Next up is my favourite drum machine of the year. Again, this is another expensive unit, but this really knocked my socks off when I first played it. It's the Pulsar 23 from Soma, and my God, does this thing jump out at you. It's only got 4 voices, a kick, a bass, a snare drum, and a hi-hat, but with those 4 voices you can create some really beautiful textures and basically make a complete track. I just love the whole concept, I love the look of it, I love the crocodile clips, I love the fact that when you play it you can almost hear the electrons running through the circuit board. When you touch it, it does different things. And I bought this one in UK National Health Service green from the 1950s because it does look like something from an old nuclear lab or something, some sort of secret sonic weapon that's been hidden away in a bunker for the last 50 years. Really amazing stuff. There are other things that definitely deserve a mention, and here's 2 of them. It's the East Beast and the West Best from Create Audio, and these are just fantastic value bits of kit, $249 for each of them. They've got Pittsburgh modular innards. You're getting 3 little modules in each of them, so a great way of getting into modular. And if you just want some fun little synths, definitely worth a look. And talking of little synths, another one that came out of the blue quite literally is the Cobalt 5S, and this is a great looking little synth. It's a digital synth, it's $449, so you can get 11 of these for the price of the OBX8. But it's such a good little thing. It's only 5 voice, but that never stopped the Prophet 5 becoming an industry standard instrument, did it? The sound manipulation capabilities of this are fantastic. It comes with an editor and an app. Really good. So loads of stuff to put on your Christmas list, and you know where to buy them, at our friends at Perfect Circuit. So I will see you in 2023.
Hello, I'm Robin from Molten Modular, and my favourite thing 2022 is the kick aim from Nobular. Sidechaining has been one of those key features, I think, of the last year or so, and the kick aim has it in spades. It's a module that brings together a 909 style kick that's right there, and a compressor to pull those 2 elements together. So no longer is your kick drum lost somewhere in the mush of your live performance. It's there, dipping into that throbbing pulse of the sidechaining. It's just brilliant. If I take the kick out, you can just feel the vibe, you can feel that pull. But whether you want to pull the whole thing apart or whether you just want it to slip in that little pocket, it's brilliant. This sits at the end of my mix, so everything just steams into this and I use the kick through it, and it's revolutionized the clarity. It's really realized the thump when you drop that kick in, because you want it to make an impact, you want it to make a splash, and this brings it through just beautifully. The kick itself has got a lot of modelling on it. You can do different things, you can tune it, you can add some drive. Or if you want to patch it differently, you can put your own kick drum through and just use that pulsing wherever you want it to be. It's also got some clever spectral modes that let you bring the kick through slightly differently. It's just superb. That's the kick aim from Modular.
Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy. I'm from a YouTube channel called Red Means Recording. As you can see, I'm sitting in a very red room to drive that point home. And I want to tell you about my favorite piece of gear in 2022. And that is, drum roll, the Elektron Syntact. I was blown away by the Syntact when I first got it. Coming from the other Elektron square boxes, the Syntact sits in a really interesting position with just a ton of different synthesis options for everything from drums to amazing, like, nasty synth lines to chords. So you got 12 tracks, 4 of them are analog, the rest are digital, of different types of synthesis that you can use to construct tracks. You've got the classic Elektron sequencer, which is still just kicking real hard today. You can dedicate some of those tracks to MIDI if you want, so it becomes an external sequencer. You have a effects block, an analog effects block that you can send stuff into either on the device, meaning you can like send each track to the effects block, or incoming signals. And some cool things you can do with the effects block include drive, filtering, different effects, and you can actually set up sidechain pumping on it using trigs. So this is amazing if you like that sidechain pump sound, because you can send, like, let's say the Digitact into it or your modular gear into it, and you can get that classic EDM kind of pump thing, which is part of a lot of the different types of music that I make. So I've used it for stuff in the studio. I've actually made it the center of my live set. I've performed like 4 times with it now, including for Seattle's Velocity Fest, and it was really, really, really fun. I love the Elektron boxes, and the Syntact sits in a really, really cool place that we haven't had before with the Elektron stuff, and I'm just all here for it. If you're thinking about picking up a groove box and samples aren't maybe your focus, I don't think you can find something quite as good as the Syntact on the market right now. So 2 thumbs up for the Syntact. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Have a wonderful day.
My favorite effect of 2022 was the Space Force from Alexander Pedals. This is a reverb. It's got many different types of reverbs in a small box, and it's my favorite for a couple reasons. But the first is that it can do the thing that I need every reverb pedal to do, which is it has a plate reverb sound that is very neutral and very perfect and will just work with anything, and can also be used in stereo. This is what my sound is without any reverb. Here it is with the Space Force plate sound. Space Force also has some more specialty sounds in it. One that I think is worth mentioning is the analog mode, which has a lot of different sort of scattered delay lines in it that produce the reverb. And just the way those have been dialed in is very cool. It creates this like haze pattern on anything you play. I think it's one of the standout, unusual features of the Space Force is the analog mode. But the thing that puts the Space Force over the edge for me is the hold function. This is the thing where you turn the reverb size all the way up, and whatever the pedal is receiving at that moment, it will freeze. And then just take that little slice and hold it and re-reverberate it over and over and over again. I think this is the coolest thing about the pedal. The way I like to think about it is that you're actually turning the pedal into like a very basic sampler engine where it can only hold one sample and it can only do one thing to it, but it sounds really good. And in the example you're about to hear, I just play a single chord and then use hold on that, and then I try to build a track around it.
Hey, what's happening, friends? It's Dean from Electronisounds, and my favorite piece of gear in 2022 has absolutely got to be the Poly End Play. I really love a sample-based workflow, and not only does the Play excel at that, but it's also fantastic for sequencing external MIDI gear, including eurorack. Come on, let me show you how easy it is to create a beat from scratch in the Play using only your own sounds. The Play comes with plenty of sample packs for us to get started, and it's also really easy for us to load and use our own sounds. Here I've got some kick drum sounds loaded into a folder I've labeled kick. I've got some snare drum sounds loaded into a folder that I've labeled snare. And I've got some hi-hats loaded into a folder that I've labeled hi-hat. As long as we keep the folder naming conventions the same as these for our kicks, our snares, and our hi-hats, we can go ahead and use the fill function to get started creating beats really quickly. Let me show you just how quickly. To make a beat with the sounds we've got loaded couldn't be easier. All we need to do is select 3 tracks that we'd like to work with, one for kick, one for snare, and one for hi-hat, and then we just hit the fill button. Now we don't want to do a random fill, so I'm going to change the type until we get to beat fill. Here we can choose the genre of beat that we'd like to create, anything from acoustic beats to break beats and drum and bass and dub and garage and house beats, all built right into the Play. Let's go ahead and choose, Garage 2, and let's go ahead and hit fill. Now every time I hit fill, it's going to randomly select samples from the kick, the snare, and the hi-hat folders. Let's go ahead and press play and see what this sounds like. If I hit fill again, it's going to randomly pick some different sounds from those folders. Let me hit fill again. Every time we hit fill, we get a different beat. We can just keep hitting fill. Let me add a little bit of a melodic line to this. I sampled some Acid 303 style hits from my Virus Darkstar. They sound like this. Let's go ahead and put some of these in over the beat. just that simple to create a beat from absolute scratch using your own sounds inside of the Play. So much amazing gear out right now. I just want to say good luck with the gear acquisition syndrome, and a big thanks to Perfect Circuit for having me on.
Well, that was great, and don't think we're done. No, we have 3 more volumes of this stuff coming up very soon. Very, very soon.